G'day guys, just going for a walk. Welcome back to my channel. I feel like a new man. I really do, because for the last 24 hours I've been fasting and I have only been drinking water. Now I've tried the fast mimicking diet, which is rough. It definitely has its moments. But jumping all in on the water diet was next level. Basically, I've spent 12 hours going through some pretty rough physical withdrawals from food. Basically, from Friday about 6 o'clock, I had a lovely chicken curry. And I stopped eating then, obviously through the night. It was fine. About 12 o'clock that next day, I started feeling sick, pains in the stomach, feeling a bit shaky. And so then the games begun. And really for 12 hours, from 12 o'clock that day to 12 o'clock the following day, I just basically laid around, tried to do as minimal things as possible, and drank a hell of a lot of water. One of the interesting things of lockdown is, which basically kicked in on Friday, was that people are forced to be at home, and what else are you going to do at home except for being on the phone or watching another Netflix silent moment, than to be shoving food into your mouth. And of course, this inspired me completely to go the other way and to fast and really jump into a 3-day water fast. I was quite comfortable with fast mimicking. I was doing that a couple of times in the year. But I was aware that there was a mimicking aspect to that. So what was the real fasting? Well, the real fasting is 3 days of just having water. And yes, it's quite intense at the start, because unlike the mimicking, you're easing in and you're gliding that plane basically in for a soft landing into to the keto response of the body, which is basically the body is running off its own energies. What I was describing before with the switch over to the body fats is a difficult process, and I can honestly say, if you haven't done fasting in your life, you do not have the skills, and definitely start off with a mimicking diet. But if you've pioneered that transition period in your body, which is basically running off the glucose and the stored energy from food in your gut to your own energy supplies in your body, which are quite vast. What's amazing is that you can actually fast for 40 days. That's how much energy reserves we have held in our body. There's plenty of videos online talking about fasting and how good it is. But the reality is that it's bloody good for your body on so many levels. Not only do you jack up stem cells, you get rid of toxins, your chance of getting cancers dropped by 70%. So, and that's only with a couple of fasts a year, you know, like 1 or 2. So the benefits are immense. It seems incredible that only a couple of hours ago, when I woke up, I had a sore head, aching stomach, and all these incredible visualizations of food. A mate of mine came around last night and said, "Do you want to go for a quick drive?" Sure enough, like everyone, the only thing open's Woolies and Coles and supermarkets. I'm walking around there, and it was quite difficult not to be pulled into fantasies about food. But look, chimpanzee, you can fight that feeling, okay? It's difficult for 12 hours, but once you break through that, the hunter comes out. Primitive man, if he was to go through such an experience of coming down from high saturated fats, protein diet like we have, he'd be curled up in the cave for 12 hours. But then, of course, the energy had to be there for him to get out of the cave and go and get himself some food. And this is where the magic happens. The body switches over into using its own ketos. I'm not a scientist or an expert on it. There's plenty of stuff that you can look at. But basically the body just switches over onto its own energy supply, which is vastly superior than running off sugar, salt, protein and all the other carbs we have in our gut. The last 12 hours have been painful. But that said, put yourself into the right meditation in a general sort of way, and it has an incredible ability to let go of whatever you're thinking about. And if you engage in that difficult transition between the energy from your gut to the energy of your body, you'll find it's a massive letting go of so many psychological ideas that we're hanging on to, and just everyday stuff as well. So once you do make that transition, it's quite remarkable, and it happened quite quickly for me, particularly on the water diet. Not so much on the fast mimicking, it's just more of an easy glide into it. But basically I was lying there in a bit of a meditation, and I psychologically pushed myself and my body into a self-sustained. What I mean by self-sustaining is that it's almost like this sensation that you're transitioning to the energy of your muscles, and the cells, I can almost say, it almost feels like the cells are getting the idea to start to pull in the energy from the reserves. And it's such a fabulous thing, and it's hard earned with that 12 hours of headaches and stomach and all the visualizations of the food that surrounds us every day of the week. Really what's happening on a physical and psychological level when you're going through that 12 hours is you're letting go of materialism. I know it's a big call, but basically your mind is letting go of all the ideas that it's, I must eat something now because I could be hungry later. Hunger's the worst case scenario. You better eat now, son, otherwise you'll get hungry later. A fate worse than death in the West. But going through that transition in your mind is completely empowering, and particularly when you reach the keto transition. G'day guys, just over there in the cemetery, I just finished a day's work. Well, not that, probably about 4 or 5 hours, digging foundations for a headstone and all the rest. Now, it's day 3 of my fast, and I can honestly say I was quite apprehensive about working today, thinking that I'd been fasting and I was going to die in the arse at some point, but I felt fantastic the whole day. The keto energy regroups very quickly. So what I mean by that is that as I was working, I was feeling a bit of fatigue coming on. All I needed was a couple of seconds to regenerate and I was back in the mode. This is day 4. Obviously I'm not fasting, but last night I had a roast meal which was completely unsatisfying. The only thing I enjoyed was dessert, probably because the sugar was easy to digest, but basically when you do get back into eating, it's quite difficult. So I think honestly the best meal to have after fasting, and I've been thinking about this for quite a long time, even though you might feel like pizza and a glass of wine, the best thing really is vegetables. And it's a crazy thing, Even the pork I had last night are so difficult. It was too compact, too much energy, more than I needed. And the veggies were really the best thing to have. So yeah, that's the rub on breaking the fast. I tell you what, by the end of yesterday afternoon, before I'd broken the fast, I felt fantastic. So really the keto energy is more than sustainable. I could have gone another 3 or 4 days, possibly, but I'm sure that's a whole other story. Follow me if you like, because over the next few months I'm going through quite a life transition. So I have a lot of interesting aspects happening to my life at the moment, just like everyone else. But basically I'll be escaping the city. So in doing that, I've had to rustle up all sorts of irons in the fire. So follow me, and I look forward to seeing you again.